Hello, peoples. Well, that was a little loud, sorry. Hello, peoples. Welcome to the Biased Critic podcast. My name's Kat. I'll be taking you on this journey today and every other episode thereforth. Is that a word? I think so. Welcome to episode 2. I'm going to preface this episode by saying I'm a little annoyed. And here's why. There's your ASMR for the day, coming in hot early on in the episode, but whatevs. My mouth was dry. Sorry. Anyways, I'm a little annoyed. And here's why. I got pretty much 75% done recording this episode Friday morning when, right after, or I guess the morning that Taylor dropped You All Over Me, and I got a live reaction recorded and my initial thoughts, and I hadn't looked at really any social media talking about the song yet or anything like that. I was trying to get a live reaction and my live initial thoughts on air for y'all to enjoy. And then my computer decided to just poop out on me like a biatch. And so now I've got, had to go get it looked at and, made sure everything was okay. And had to restart it and whatever. But it's all good. It's working now. Hopefully. And I am just technologically challenged, essentially. But it's all good. I got it going, got it working. It's all taken care of, and we hopefully will not have any more issues going forward. Oop, I forgot to turn my phone off. Duolingo is yelling at me. I started learning Spanish this week because I've got at least one coworker who speaks Spanish, and perhaps more to come. So I started learning Spanish because that was my goal for this that was one of my goals for this year. So my first goal was that I was going to finish taking my wedding planning course. And I finished that at the end of February, which was also my goal, that I wanted to finish it by February. And I just barely hit the mark. But I did it. So then after that, I wanted to start learning a language. Sorry, I keep drinking this. Does anybody else remember Sobe Life Water? S-O-B-E. Sobe water. That's like flavored vitamin water. And it used to be like everywhere in like the late 2000s. I remember being it was probably like late 2000s, early 2010s that it was it was popular within like my school and my friend group. I don't know. Maybe that was just a me thing, but anyways, there's you cannot find it anymore. One day I randomly remembered it existed, and I went on a long, I trekked, and I went everywhere that I could think of. I even was looking it up online, which you can order it off of the Sobe website. But I finally found it at a hardware store, one of those, not like a small hardware store, like a chain one. That's like a department store, but with tools and shit. I finally found it at one of them, and if you are a Midwesterner like myself, you'll know what a Menards is. If you're not, then it's a department hardware store, like a Home Depot or something. But anyways, the point is, that's where I can find it bottled. Because some places around me have it, there is a gas station nearby that has it in a fountain. A couple restaurants have a flavor of it on the fountain. But this is but the hardware store is the only place I can freaking find it bottled besides online. So I frequent this hardware store now because I just got myself attached to Sobe Life Water again, and yeah, it's kind of a problem. Like, I need to drink regular water still. It's obviously not the same. Anyways, so yeah, once I start drinking that, I cannot seem to stop though. Anyways, that's my water tangent for today. Anyways, what else was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I started learning Spanish. Now we understand where this podcast is gonna go, right? Like, I'm gonna go on these long ass tangents for a while and then actually get around to what I plan on talking about, which is music. But anyways, so yeah, my first goal of 2021 was that I wanted to finish my wedding planning classes by February, and I did that. And then I decided that the next thing I wanted to do was start learning a language. And it was a toss-up between sign language or Spanish. And I was kind of, for a while, I was leaning more towards sign language because I kind of already knew some. Like, I know the alphabet and, like, some words. But then I got into my job late last year, late 2020, and a lot of Spanish speakers I work with a lot of Spanish speakers, and so I decided that I was going to learn Spanish because it's kind of the same thing. I know a couple words, but not anything significant enough to have, hold a conversation or try to communicate with someone who speaks about as much English as I do Spanish. You know what I'm saying? So I decided that I was going to start learning Spanish a couple days ago. So now I've got Duolingo, which it's kind of like a game to me because it's like, yesterday I was doing it for a little while, but then I had other things to do. But then when my heart's replenished, it was like, it sent me a notification, you have more hearts. And then later on in the day, it was like, you left the top 15. And I was like, oh, I got to get back up in the top 15 on the leaderboard. Like, it's like a game to me. It's like I feel competitive against other people learning Spanish on Duolingo. So anyways, that's what I've been up to. I don't know what my next goal is going to be for 2021 because I've done the three main ones that I wanted to accomplish, because school, Spanish, and this podcast were my three main goals that right around the new year I was really focused on, big time. So I don't know what my next goal might be, because I'm not really, I'm not big on New Year's resolutions, but I usually try to set a goal for myself. A couple years ago, I said I was going to listen to a new band or artist every month. So I would try to discover new music at least once a month. I didn't get very far in that, but I did discover some new music with that. Maybe I should do that again. But anyways, enough about boring shit that nobody cares about. Let's talk about the thing we all came here for. Taylor Swift's new song. It's called You All Over Me, and like I said, I recorded this episode originally the morning it came out. So by now, because I'm recording this on Sunday, because I finally got my computer working again today, so I've obviously listened to it a bit. I've theorized about it myself, as well as read other fan theories and stuff like that online. So it's not quite the same for me. I mean, regardless, it probably wouldn't be any different for you guys listening at, a few days after the fact that it's been out and we've had a couple days to let it marinate. But essentially, what I said on Friday and what I still believe is that it is a freaking amazing song. It definitely would have been, if it had come out originally on Fearless in 2008, it definitely would have been my favorite on there, or at least in my top 5. I'm trying to think what my top 5 is. I have to say The Best Day is one of them, because I have a tattoo of the lyrics from The Best Day, so I have to put that in my top 5. That's kind of obligatory. White Horse, of course. Hey Stephen pops out to me for some reason. I never would have thought that was a top 5 for me, but it's really sticking out to me. Forever and Always piano version specifically. And Come In With the Rain, maybe? I don't know. I can't think of anything like, I don't know. But I think if that had come out if You All Over Me had come out on Fearless originally, it definitely would have originally been in my top 5. But it's weird, like you can't change. It's a weird concept, these re-recordings, I guess, because it's like we all have our favorites on these albums already, and now she's gonna be putting out these albums again, which is awesome. And but now it's like, are our favorite songs going to change? Who knows? I don't know, but I think You All Over Me is amazing. I think it's great. I think it was, personally, I think it was too mature lyrically to go on the album. I don't think if she had put it on the album originally, I don't think it would have fit. I think maybe it could have gone on, maybe it would have fit on Speak Now, but I think it was a little too country for Speak Now. But I think lyrically it may have been more, as Taylor likes to say, sonically cohesive, but I guess not technically sonically, but lyrically cohesive with Speak Now. But I think it was too mature lyrically for Fearless, and I think that may have been why they decided to not put it on Fearless originally. I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago now called The Ringer Dish. They are doing a podcast episode dedicated to every Taylor album. And I think last I checked, because again, I recorded this on Friday and I mentioned the podcast then too. But last I checked, they had only gotten through Reputation, but let's see. They've only gotten through Reputation as far as albums go, but I'm seeing now that they dropped a short episode on Friday, a couple days ago, dedicated to this song, You All Over Me. So check that out, because it's really interesting, just like going through all these albums and their opinions essentially on them. They're trying to be unbiased, which is obviously not my forte, given the name of this podcast, but they're trying to be unbiased as far as like their opinions, and like they rate the album as a whole, and like they give it, like they have different categories that they rank the album. I can't remember. I've only listened to the first episode when they talk about debut. But the reason I bring this podcast up is because I was listening to the episode where they talk about the debut album, or self-titled album, as some people like to call it. And they mentioned that there were some songs that they considered filler songs. Like, I remember one of them was The Outside. And they theorized that the reason they put these so-called filler songs on this album was to make it more appealing to the country audience, I guess, in a way you could say. And So I wonder if, because they were trying to, give her that country, wholesome, all-American girl, like, look. And so that's probably what they were trying to do on Fearless as well. So that's my theory is what as to why they didn't put You All Over Me on it, is because, again, it's just lyrically, it's more mature than most of Fearless. It's like, lyrically, Fearless is more mature than the self-titled album, but it still definitely was written by a 17, 18-year-old girl, But I think it is definitely more lyrically mature. And like I said, I feel like lyrically it would have fit better on Speak Now, but musically it sounds like a Fearless song. So yeah. I just thought of that as I was saying that. I just thought every time I say lyrically, take a drink. There's your drinking game. Anyways, only if you're 21 and older, it's legal and whatever. Do whatever you want. Just don't blame me. So yeah, I really liked it. The other initial thought I had, which I later learned I was correct, is that it sounds like a prelude to the song on the 1989 album Clean. Oh, sorry. Which again, I later learned that was a correct theory because I saw other fan pages and other accounts talking about that. So I guess I don't know if it's confirmed the prelude to that song, or my initial thought was, since they, when she was writing 1989, that song had been quote unquote scrapped. So then she took the themes of, like, say the lyric, I can't even think right now, but like she took the themes of the last two lines of the chorus and changed it. Like, still got you all over me, like a wine-stained dress I can't wear anymore, no amount of freedom, no amount of freedom gets you clean, I still got you all over me. So yeah, no amount of freedom, 10 months sober, just because you're clean don't mean you don't miss it, all that. I think she had that stored away somewhere, the lyrics for You All Over Me, and changed it to fit 1989 and put it on Clean. So that's what a lot of people online were saying. Again, I don't know if that's like a confirmed, like it was a prelude situation, but I definitely think that the lyrics to Clean were inspired by the lyrics from You All Over Me, which is cool. I like it when she and other artists do callbacks to other songs, like Afterglow, when she does the callback to Red. I used to think that love would be a burning red, but or not Afterglow, duh, it's Golden, in the song Golden. Wow, Afterglow just came right out of my dumbass head. I don't know. Anyways, so but I do like when she does, or when other song artists do callbacks to other songs like that. I think that's really cool. But yeah, I'm really excited. Fearless is coming out in a couple days, like a little over a week. So I'm really excited to see what the rest of the songs from the Vault are gonna be. I feel like I say vault weird. Vault. I don't know. Anyways, I feel like, I really hope, I don't know where I was going with that, but I really hope one of those songs is I'd Lie. I love that song so much. It is like my favorite unreleased song. I would kill for I'd Lie to be available for me to listen elsewhere besides YouTube in a shitty quality, where it was definitely uploaded in like 2009, where they've got the lyrics scrolling on a blue background. You remember that? That's how I listen to I'd Lie, is on with those shitty quality YouTube videos. And I would kill to be able to listen to that on Spotify or on a CD even, which I did pre-order the CD version of Fearless. That's my new plan, is to buy all of the new re-recorded CDs, because I put in, for whatever, I saw a TikTok, that's why. I saw a TikTok of somebody pulling out their old self-titled CD and seeing if they had the original copy, where she says in Picture to Burn, that's fine, I'll tell mine you're gay. So I was like, ooh, I have that. I wonder which version I have. So I pulled out my copy of debut album, popped it in my Jeep, and turned on Picture to Burn. Disappointing story. I have the later version and not the original version of debut, but that's okay. So then I decided to keep all my CDs in my car, and I've been listening to Red, and I'm just like, you know what, I finally get what the hipsters were saying in 2012 when they were all just like, vinyls have better sound quality. CDs have better fucking sound quality than streaming. Like, maybe I'm just old and, like, stuck in my ways, whatever. Stuck in my old ways. I mean, I've been streaming for many years now, but, like, something about popping in a CD is different. It hits different, as the kids say. Like, if I'm using Spotify or whatever, I very rarely will listen to a album front to back for some reason. Occasionally I will, but it's like a rare occurrence that I'll listen to an album from front to back. But if I have a record, of course, like a vinyl, I will obviously listen to it that way, because that's pretty much the only way to do it. But that's the only time I'll really listen to an album, is from cover to cover, is on a vinyl. But now that I've got all my CDs out there, I've been like, ooh, yeah, let's listen to all of Red, or ooh, let's listen to all of Lover, or whatever. I've got, what else? I've got a couple of Fall Out Boys CDs. I think I've got Multiply on a CD, and then just some random ones still. But yeah, I'm gonna buy I'm gonna buy all of the re-recordings as they come out, and then I'll get Folklore and Evermore, because I stopped buying CDs after probably, I can't remember if I had 1989. Obviously I have Red. Like I said, I have Red in my car right now, but I don't remember if I ever bought 1989 on a CD. I think I have it maybe on a vinyl. I don't remember. I don't remember. But I don't have any of her recent CDs. I bought Lover. But that was because she, put out all those journals, so I may have bought all 4 from Target. I'm not ashamed of that, I guess. A little. I guess I am a little ashamed of it, because I spent like 80 something bucks on that, but I will gladly give Taylor all of my money, you know? It's fine. It's fine. But anyways, yeah, so that was the first time I'd bought a CD in obviously a long time. So, but now I'm really excited about CDs again. But yeah. Another Taylor Swift news, and much less exciting news, of course. Her court case with that theme amusement park is what it is, in Utah. They both decided that they were gonna just close both of their cases, because if you're unaware, a theme park in Utah called Evermore decided to sue Taylor, claiming that she was using their copyright by having her album be called Evermore and then selling merchandise with the name Evermore on it. So then she countersued, claiming that they were using her music at the park without copyright. I don't know, what would that be? Whatever. They were using her music without oh my god. What the heck word am I trying to think of right now? Agreement. The word I was trying to come up with was agreement. They were using her music on the theme park without authorization. So anyways, then they decided 3 weeks later to drop both lawsuits. So there's that. Few days ago, I think it was like a week ago now, Taylor and her mom jointly donated $50,000 to a family who just lost their husband/father, who died of COVID. So that's great. I recently learned that GoFundMe changed their allowment. Like, they had a set amount that you could donate. You couldn't donate a certain amount or over a certain amount a while ago, and then apparently Taylor tried to donate $50,000, or a certain amount of money that exceeded the maximum amount of money you could donate on GoFundMe. So she donated in increments that totaled that whatever amount she was trying to hit. So then GoFundMe changed it so there was no maximum amount of donation, because she was trying to donate however much money. So yeah, I learned that the other day. That was pretty neat. Although I'm not a huge supporter of GoFundMe, but that's whatever. Do your thing. Anyways, so let's see what else is going on. I think it's been about, I don't know, it's been a little while now that it's been out. But Joe Troman, guitarist for Fall Out Boy, of course, started a podcast not too long ago. It is a mental health podcast called I Hate Myself. So far, he has, I think, just 2 episodes. Yeah, 2 episodes out. First episode was with Seth Green, and then the second one, I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry. Okay, there, I got that out of the way. The second episode was with Ron Funches. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I'd never heard of him, but he's also a comedian. And basically, he's just on there with his buddy and producer and whatever guest they have on, talking about depression and other mental illnesses. And so it's good. It's really interesting. It's really heavy and emotional, and it can get hard to listen to. So if, you have certain triggers in regards to like mental health, depression, if you plan on listening to this, if you haven't yet, and you have triggers in regards to like mental health, like I said, depression, trauma, PTSD, definitely listen with caution, because it does get really heavy. It does get difficult to listen to. I haven't finished the second episode yet. I listened to the third episode. The first episode. It took me about 3 days to get through it, because it's just so heavy. And it does, if you are a person who is affected by, mental illnesses, depression, whatever that may be, it's hard to hear, and it's great to hear other people talking about their struggles and their depression or anxiety or whatever mental illness they're struggling with. It's great to hear other people talk and relate to what they're saying, but it is obviously really tough to listen to and, sit through for an hour. So yeah, it's great. Definitely check it out if you're interested, but like I said, just ease into it. Because it can get really triggering at times, and that's okay. I think it is going to be really important, and I think it's going to reach audiences that really need to hear it and may not have heard it otherwise. I think it is fantastic that Joe specifically is doing this type of podcast. Obviously, if you are a fan of Joe, if you know anything about Joe, like, he's obviously struggled with clinical depression for the majority of his life, and he talks about that. He talks about going to therapy. He talks about, prescription, medications. Talks about other things in that realm, but I think it's so huge that a man, first of all, let's start there, that a man is doing a podcast on mental illnesses, because mental illness and depression in itself is still it's not as much as it used to be. It's starting to become destigmatized, but it is still a taboo subject for some, and especially when it's in regards to men, because toxic masculinity is still so prevalent in our society. Sayings like, oh, men don't cry, or men can't be sad, or any, toxic masculinity. I'm sure everyone knows what I'm referring to when I say that. And the fact that a man is doing a podcast on mental health and depression and talking about being in therapy is so huge to me. I think that is such a major step in the right direction, and I'm so glad that he took the initiative to do that. And especially being a man in a rock band. He's got comedians on his podcast, and I'm not too into the comedy world. From what I have seen or heard, comedy as of recently, within the past, 10, 15 years maybe, I don't know, has talked about depression or mental illnesses a little bit more than perhaps in the past. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, because I really don't know, but I've seen a lot of comedians be pretty open about their depression or other mental illnesses as of, like I said, recently, but I'm not in to comedy so much. So maybe this has been more prevalent in that world for a long time. I'm not sure. But I think that is also important that he's got comedians, people who are supposed to be happy, cheerful, and bring people up, are talking about things that are pretty big downers. But I think it is especially important that a rock musician is talking about depression, anxiety, PTSD, therapy. That's the biggest one for me, is the fact that he's so open and honest about talking to a therapist. In the second episode, almost immediately into the episode, he was like, I just talked to my therapist an hour before we started this thing. I'm like, that's so important. More people need to be open and honest about talking to a therapist and how it is okay. And it is okay to talk about it, and you shouldn't be embarrassed by it. Anyone, man, woman, anyone, non-binary person, anyone can see a therapist, and it should not be something you are embarrassed about or something you should be ashamed of. And I'm so glad that more people are talking about it. But the reason I say it's important for a rock musician to do it is because for as long as there's been rock music, there has been the rock and roll lifestyle of sex, drugs, and alcohol, and groupies and parties and wild whatever. For as long as there's been rock music, there has been that stereotype of musician and also music fan. And, with Fall Out Boy specifically being in that, category of so-called emo music. I know they don't like to be classified as emo music, and if you look at the emo genre, they're not technically emo. Their lyrics can be considered emotional, but they're not. But that's another soapbox for another day. So what I'm getting at is, like, yes, their lyrics, their songs can be, you could say, oh, they talk about mental health, they talk about depression, yes, absolutely. But I think it's less common for the musicians themselves to be so candid and open about mental health in a platform like this. Now, obviously, podcasts are kind of newer, especially in comparison to music, but, not many rock musicians are talking about their struggles with mental health or anything like that. So I think it's so fantastic that Joe Troman is doing a mental health podcast. So if you haven't, it's called I Hate Myself. Do check it out. Give him support in that. Obviously, he's got a lot of followers from his music, listening to it. I think people outside of those types of people should be listening to it, because it needs to be broadcast. I think it needs to be heard by a wider audience, and I'm sure that it will. The best part about it, in my opinion, is that Patrick does his theme songs. So there's some Patrick content in there too. Obviously that was a joke. That's not the best part about it, but it is a perk. It is pretty great to get some Patrick content at the same time as some Joe content as a fan. Okay. Well, what else did I talk about? Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about today, it's not so much related to like bands or artists specifically, but something I noticed about TikTok, something I noticed about myself, and something that I hope I can perhaps enlighten as a listener about. So if you're familiar with TikTok, if you're on there, if you if you know anybody that's on TikTok that talks about TikTok, anyways, you'd probably have heard about the whole Gen Z X millennial war, the Gen Z and millennial, so to speak, war, where Gen Z basically thinks millennials are out of touch already. Technically, I would be considered a Gen Z, but I identify as a cusper because I was born in 99. But that's besides the point. The point is that Gen Z thinks millennials are out of touch. They think their style is cringy. They think things they do are cringy. And one of the points that I've seen being made about millennials from Gen Z is that they make liking pizza a personality trait. So when you think about that on the surface, you can think, yeah, that could be considered cringy. So, anyways, this is how I enlightened myself on this. Is I was scrolling through TikTok one day, and I saw a video. I don't remember what the context of the video was, but I do remember that it made me think to myself, okay, we get it. You smoke weed. I don't have a problem with people who smoke weed. I personally don't, but I have no problems. I have no qualms with people who smoke weed or do drugs, as long as you are being safe to yourself and others around you. I see no problem with smoking weed. But when I saw this video, I was like, stoners, they make smoking weed their whole personality. And then this made me think about the whole Gen Z and millennials, and how, millennials make liking pizza their personality. So then I was like, okay, but if you like anything, that's a part of your personality, So, for example, I like music. That's part of my personality. I like cats. That's part of my personality. I also like pizza. So technically, that's part of my personality. I think we as humans, it is part of our nature to find things that we like and to grasp onto that and to make it a part of our personality, essentially, You like something, you identify with it, it's therefore is a part of your personality. You can like anything, and that is part of your personality. So I'm sitting there thinking about this, and it reminded me of a few months back, a friend of mine posted on Facebook. Yes, I am old. I still use Facebook. She posted on Facebook that she was thinking about how in middle school she was a big Justin Bieber fan, and everyone made fun of her for liking Justin Bieber, which was obviously when Justin Bieber was, really huge. I don't know is he still popular? I don't know. But when he got really popular, it was so popular to hate him, to bully people who liked him. And, I'll be honest, I was on that train for a long time. I was, Justin Bieber sucks. Justin Bieber sounds like a girl, which is obviously a very toxic mindset that has since, changed, I think, for the most of us. But anyways, I was definitely a part of that Justin Bieber hate community, which obviously I've grown up. I think most of us have, and have gotten over that. But regardless, and it really reminded me of like myself. I'm not a Justin Bieber fan, of course, but I am a fan of things that people like to hate also. People still love to hate Taylor Swift. People love to pick on you if you like the emo bands, if you like My Chemical Romance or 21 Pilots or Fall Out Boy or whatever. That's an emo band, and oh, you're emo, you probably do something that I'm not going to say that is probably triggering. And I've heard everything under the sun. I've been, laughed at for liking Taylor Swift. I've been, asked if I do that thing because I listen to the quote unquote emo bands. It's an unfortunate thing that people do for no reason except, for no reason at all, actually. I can't think of any reason except to make themselves feel better about their own insecurities, probably. But it was like, I got to the point where I really don't talk about things that I like to other people unless I know that they're not going to judge me for it, if they're not going to laugh in my face for liking Taylor Swift or whatever. And I think that's another reason why I wanted to start this podcast too, is so I could finally let out everything I've been holding in. But anyways, it really got me thinking, like, okay, anything you like, that's part of your personality, and there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with liking something, and whether that be, a type of music, an animal, a movie, a book, a sport, a game, a color, a food, whatever. If you like it, that's part of your personality, and that is okay. That does not make you cringy. That does not make you weird. That does not make you stupid. It makes you unique, and it makes you you. So, to end this, I want to just tell anyone listening, if you feel insecure about something you like or something that you're passionate about, don't. Be 100% yourself, and if someone don't like that, you don't need them. Plain and simple. So that was not the way I was expecting to end this, but I think that is exactly how it should be ended. On that note, I will see you, or talk to you rather, next Sunday. I hope you have a great week. And if you would like, you can follow the podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The Bias Critic. Thank you. And have like I said, I guess I said that already. Okay. Bye.